Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. October 15th, FBAR extension deadline nears for foreign bank and financial account holders. IR 2021-196, October 1st, 2021, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service reminds U.S. citizens, resident aliens, and any domestic legal entity that the extension deadline to file their annual report of foreign bank and financial accounts, the FBAR, there's a link to that here, is October 15th, 2021. Filers missing the April 15th annual due date earlier this year received an automatic extension until October 15th, 2021 to file the FBAR. They did not need to request the extension. Filers affected by a natural disaster may have their FBAR due date further extended. It's important filers review relevant FBAR relief notices. There's a link to those notices here. There'll be a link to this in the description. They can go there for complete information about that. Who needs to file? The Bank Secrecy Act requires U.S. persons to file an FBAR if they have 1. Financial interest in, significant authority, or other authority over one or more accounts, such as a bank account, brokerage account, mutual fund, or other financial account located outside the United States. And 2, the aggregate value of all foreign financial accounts exceeds $10,000 at any time during the calendar year. Because of this threshold, the IRS encourages U.S. persons or entities with foreign accounts, even relatively small ones, to check if this filing requirement applies to them. A U.S. person is a citizen or resident of the United States or any domestic legal entity such as a partnership, corporation, limited liability company, estate, or trust. How to file. Filers do not file the FBAR with their federal income tax return, so it's not filed normally with the Form 1040 here. The 2020 FBAR must be filed electronically with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the FINCEN, and is only available through the BSA e-filing system website. There's a link to that here. Again, there'll be a link to this in the description if you want to get access to that link, because then you can get the link in the description, the links to this link here, and takes you hopefully where you want to go. So these who are unable to e-file the FBAR must call FINCEN at 800-949-2732 or from outside the U.S. at 703-905-3975. Again, there'll be a link to this in the description so you can check out those phone numbers if needed. Avoid penalties. Those who don't file an FBAR, so you might be asking, well, what if I don't do it? Then here's what they say. You have to avoid penalties. Here's where the stick comes in. The stick has been raised over the IRS's head at that. So those who don't file an FBAR when required may be subject to significant civil and criminal penalties that can result in a fine and or prison. The IRS will not penalize those who properly reported a foreign account on a late filed FBAR if the IRS determines there was reasonable cause for late filing. So one of the problems with these kind of laws, obviously, is they're trying to get people to tell them about money that they have outside the United States and whatnot. And if you don't do it, if you miss the deadline, then you might say, well, what if I file now? Then now they're going to penalize me for not filing before and this kind of thing. And hopefully, again, their incentive on the IRS side is to try to get people into compliance. So generally, they're going to lean towards getting people into compliance so that if you file, hopefully, they don't go back and just penalize you for not filing if you had, in essence, reasonable cause and so forth. But again, you can understand the incentive of the law to try to implement it in such a way that they get people, in compliance, even if they were not in compliance in the past for whatever reason going forward. So again, look into it, check it out. So we got the FBAR resources on irs.gov that you can do some more reading about here with these links. How to report foreign bank and financial accounts, international taxpayers, IRS FBAR reference guide, frequently asked questions, FAQs about international individual tax matters, FINCEN's website, reporting maximum account value. There's links to all that resources here. And we also have, to help avoid delays with tax refunds, taxpayers living abroad should visit helpful tips for effectively receiving a tax refund for taxpayers living abroad on irs.gov. There's a link to that too. A lot of good stuff here, and there'll be a link to this in the description.